And now, for all the Mortal Kombat fans around the world, Puerto Rico, Latin America, with us, Kano, Baraka, Cabal, the one and only Richard
Divizio. Don't you realize why Raven sent you? The Nether Realm is a place for evil beings. You cannot exist here unless you were tainted with evil. You belong here. Join my brother. And just join me here on Game Venture. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
that's Quan Chi.
Yeah. That's
amazing.
it. Yeah, that's Quan Chi.
How
What
you
is
doing,
going on,
Richard?
you guys? How are you? I'm good. And you know why? Because it's Friday. And then, after I'm done with you guys, I'm probably going to pour me a glass of bourbon.
Ooh, nice. I would like to say the same thing, but I work in retail, so my Fridays are my Mondays.
Ooh.
But
I used to work retail back in the day, and I hate retail.
Uh-huh.
Kano hates it. He hates it very much. Oh my God!
Richard, how's the weather there? How's the weather down there?
About 80-something degrees. So, maybe I'll go for a night swim. I don't know. Maybe.
You should
Or
come to Puerto Rico.
I'll sit in the air conditioning. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, Puerto Rico. What do you got? Like 90, 100?
Yeah, always. There's always in the 90 degrees. So
you heard about here in the States. It's 115 in Arizona.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's bad, but I'm glad I'm not there. I'm in Chicago where it's 88 and 90.
That is great.
But thank you guys
you have to visit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. I just want to say hello to everyone in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico! Did I say that correctly?
That is correct.
Awesome. But all my fans in the southern part of the world, in South America, everywhere, all over. Awesome. I hope everyone's doing well. And thanks again for having me on your show. So let's get started. Let's hear about how this all began, shall we?
Let's go. Let's go.
That's what we
let
want.
let the questions. Is it questions? Yeah. Let them roll.
Preguntas.
There you go. Preguntas.
So Richard, we most of us, and when I said most, I said millions of us gamers, not just Mortal Kombat fans, fighting game fans. Know about you. You are considered a legend. You're considered one of the most iconic persons in the video games industry. How did you got involved with Mortal Kombat? Like, Mortal Kombat is like big thing right now. How this all started?
Well, let's see. Let's start that I'm 54 years old right now. When I was about 20, I would say about 22 years old, is when we did the game. But I'm going to take you back a little bit before then, because you're not going to understand how it all went down if I don't explain everything from the very, very beginning. Mm-hmm. Many probably don't know. Many might be aware that Daniel Pesina, who plays Johnny Cage in all the ninjas, myself, who plays Kano, yes, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Ho-Sung Pak, who plays Liu Kang, and Carlos Pesina, Daniel's brother, who plays Raiden. We all grew up together. Oh, and I can't forget my guy, Anthony Marquez, who plays Kung Lao. But we all grew up together and did Kung Fu since we were probably about 13 years old. Wow. So like I said, I'm 54 now, and, I'm going back all the way till I was 13. And that's when I met those guys. And I played a lot of baseball when I was younger, and wanted to be a baseball star. And I kind of got tired of baseball. I had been playing it so much. And I was really good too. And but it's pretty difficult to make it. You have to be like extraordinary to be a professional baseball player. But I kind of got sick of baseball, and one day a friend of mine in the 6th grade, he brought some nunchucks to school, and he was twirling around like Bruce Lee, and I had never seen anything like that before. Um, I actually had never even seen a Bruce Lee movie in the 70s, early 80s. I had never even seen anything like that. Um, but I asked him, I said, what is that? And where did you get those? It's pretty cool. He's like, they're, we used to call them Choco sticks, but they're nunchucks.
Mhm.
Um, and I said, can you show me how to do that? And he goes, well, I'll introduce you to my friend Danny, not knowing who this Danny guy was. Have you ever met Danny or no?
I haven't met him. I just follow him and follow his
Okay.
career and see all the martial art stuff that he doing
Okay.
social media and all that cool
I'll
stuff.
I'll make sure he
Mhm.
does an interview with you, and I'll get
Thank you.
I'll get
That would be great.
Carlos Pacina. I'll get him on here as well, and some of the other guys. So
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. But yeah, so my friend Craig, he introduced me to Danny, and then I met Carlos because they're brothers, and I started taking kung fu from them, and it was Northern Shaolin 7-star praying mantis kung fu, Chinese martial arts, and quickly Daniel brought in from the kung fu school that Daniel was training at, which was a 7-star praying mantis kung fu school. He had brought Ho Young Pak, who's Ho Sung Pak's brother, and Anthony Marquez to the southern part of Chicago, of the city where we were working out, and I met those guys, and man, even at like 13 and 14 years old, those guys were so impressive with what they did and how they kicked and how they moved, and Hosung eventually, through our teen years, he ended up becoming like a grand champion, and did the tournament circuit for martial arts. And myself as well, I did some tournaments and got some trophies and won some awards, but Hosung was pretty damn good. But we practiced our martial arts through our teen years, and Hosung, like I said, he had gotten so good that he was recognized by the lead choreographer of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films, and the choreographer Pat Johnson, who had worked on Karate Kid films. Pat Johnson's actually the guy. If you ever seen the Karate Kid,
Yeah,
he's
definitely. Yeah.
he's the referee that has the shirt on that says referee. That
Okay.
he tells Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio to break, and then they fight at the tournament. So the guy with the mustache, that's Pat Johnson. He was also, I think, really good friends with like Steve McQueen back in the 70s, and Bruce Lee and so forth, and Chuck Norris. But the day it all happened, it was Daniel and Hosung and myself. We had been training for about 4 or 5 hours at Hosung's parents' house. We were at a local park, and about 5 hours went by. We practiced our Chinese kung fu, and I was starving. And when I got to eat, I got to eat. So we went back to Hosung's house, and this is the day when there's no cell phones. It's all telephones, connected to the wall, and
Yeah. I miss those
we went.
days. Not gonna lie.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It would be
All the
better for our
cables.
kids. It would be better for our kids, right?
Definitely. I remember just getting out of the house, no cell phone, riding bike all day, coming home, and you like the social life was completely different.
Yeah, you actually had to talk to people.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that this whole podcast thing is actually getting people to converse a little more, which is great. It's a great thing. But yeah. So anyway, I told Hosung, I said, because the phone rang in his house, I said, don't even answer it. I'm like, let's go. We're gonna go eat. We were gonna go have like a hamburger or something, and he answers the phone.
That was the call.
So I said, I go, who is it? Who's on the phone? Let's go. He's like, so like a half an hour goes by, 45 minutes, and we're sitting there. My stomach is growling. He gets off the phone, and I'm thinking to myself, this better be friggin' good. Whoever that was. He gets off the phone. You'll never believe who that was. I'm like, who? He says, that was Pat Johnson. He's the lead stunt coordinator from the Turtles movie, and he wants me to be Raphael in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. So Ho-Sung Pak gets to be Raphael. And I said, all right, let's go eat. Let's go eat. We're going to talk about this while we eat. So, I got to get my French fries. I got to get my burger. So the three of us, we went and sat down, and we said, and I said, so you're going to get us in the movie, right? You're going to get us in the movie. You're getting us in this fucking movie. I don't care what you have to do, but we're going to be in it, right?
We should be there.
So anyway, they told him that he had to be in London, England, in like a week to get fitted for the costume for Raphael. And, I was like 21 years old, and I was working at our local post office in the city of Chicago. And it was always my dream to be in a movie or something like that. So I had gotten a call when I got home from work, and it was Daniel. And he goes, Ho-Sung called. He said, if we want to be foot soldiers, we have to get down to Wilmington, North Carolina to be in the film, or at least try out to be in the film. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'm quitting my job tomorrow. So I quit this post office job, but it was only like $5 an hour. And it wasn't part of the union. If it was part of the union, I probably would have stayed, because then you get a pension and all this kind of stuff. So, but I said, fuck this. I'm like, I'm never going to get this opportunity again. So I am going.
Once in a lifetime.
I'm 21 years old. I'm about to go and try out to work on a major motion picture. So Daniel and he picked me up in the morning. We went and got my last check at the post office, and I didn't tell him I was quitting until I had the check in my hand. So,
that's smart. That was
well, I'm not fucking stupid, So anyway, I got the check, and I saw it. Just so you know, I quit. Bye. See ya. So we left. We drove 22 hours to Wilmington, North Carolina, through the mountains. Because in Illinois, here in Chicago, it's all flat. Mm-hmm. There's no mountains here. So we had to go through like the Appalachian Mountains and whatever. Oh my God. I probably had never seen mountains before. So it was an experience to be 21 and to do that. And you're traveling with one of your, best friends and your coach and teacher. Because Daniel was my first teacher. So we get down there, and remember, we're getting to Wilmington, North Carolina at like 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And there's no cell phone to be able to see how I went from here to here. See, there's a difference. This is how you hold a cell phone, and this is how you hold an old phone. But anyway, so we had to find a payphone, and we had to put quarters inside a payphone, and we called the hotel to find Ho-Sung's hotel, his hotel room. So we went to the hotel. We got there. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we had to be at the studio at 7 a.m. So Danny has more seniority than me because he's older. Danny's 10 years older than me. So I'm 54. He's 64 now. But anyway, that means he gets the bed. So he gets the other bed. Guess who gets the floor? I get the floor.
You.
So anyway, slept for like an hour, and then we drove to the studio. And, in movies, I always see like the Hollywood type of studios. They always have like a security guard that lets you in.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got there, I saw that, even though it wasn't Hollywood, because it was on the East Coast of the United States in North Carolina, they had studios there too. I guess they had done the movie Dune there. Wow, that's an old movie. Yeah. They had filmed a couple of TV shows and stuff there, so that was kind of cool. So I didn't care. I was going to make a movie. So I get there, and there's all these martial artists there, and I had to try out. I had to do like my staff form. I had to do my kata, do all my stuff. And to make a long story short, I got the part. Daniel and I became foot soldiers, and because of the fact that we all grew up together, they put a lot of the fight scenes where where Hosung as Raphael would have to fight. Daniel and I did a lot of fight scenes together with him. So that's what's cool when you watch it on the screen. You're like, oh, that's me, that's me. So anyway, so we get back from filming this. We were there for 3 months on location. And that whole time, I had already been friends with John Tobias, and he had been working for Midway Games. And I got home. It was around the holidays, maybe November of like 91. By the way, I did get that foot soldier part on my 22nd birthday. It was my birthday, September 6th, 1991, I think it was. But it was a nice birthday present to become a foot soldier. Yeah, right.
Foot soldier in a
yeah,
Ninja Turtles movie.
Iconic movie.
Yeah, and it was the second film, The Secret of the Ooze, with Vanilla Ice. So Ice Ice Baby. So that was awesome. And yeah, I called my mom. I said, I'm not going to be home for 3 months. So she was like, okay. I'm like, okay. We got paid $75 a day to be in that. We worked 12-hour days. And you know what was cool? I'm sorry, I'll go into the Mortal Kombat thing in a minute, but there were a lot of experiences there.
Mm-hmm.
There were experiences there that you would never have thought that you could like meet. You met so many awesome, wonderful people, and so my director on our second unit of shooting for the foot soldiers was a guy by the name of Terry Leonard. And Terry is a big Hollywood stuntman. He has done many of the stunts for the biggest Hollywood stars, and one of the biggest he has done. When I explain this to you, you'll know. Was for Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
So Terry, he is the guy that when you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is it Raiders or is it Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? I think it's Raiders.
I think it's Raiders.
The one with the truck scene where Harrison Ford is like on the front of the truck and he's holding on, and then he's climbing up like the radiator of the truck, and he has to go through the front window, and he's punching the guy and stuff like that. And then he goes under the truck, and then he's sliding under there with his whip on the axle, and he's being dragged, as the truck's going. So that was not Harrison Ford doing that stunt. That was Terry Leonard.
Oh, wow.
So, he's my director. So, and it's so cool. And I like sharing these stories with you guys because, we film 12-hour days, and then let's say on a Saturday or a Sunday, someone on set would have I don't know how this worked out, but someone had access to like a beach house off of the ocean, and they're like, party, there's going to be a party there. So everybody that was on the film, they all got invited. So I'm with Terry Leonard, and we're out on the back of this beach house, grilling, barbecuing, putting food on the grill, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm here with you, and you're the guy that was under the truck in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm 22 years old. How is it that I'm sharing this experience with you, talking to you? You're from a film that I loved growing up, and I'm over here just eating a hamburger with you. It's just blowing my mind. So little experience like that was pretty awesome. But anyway, we get back to Chicago, and the phone rings. I was living at my dad's house, and my dad says, it's John Tobias. I said, oh, okay. So I get on the phone. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, so you guys are back from Turtles, I heard. I was like, yeah, we were there for 3 months. He's like, so I'm working at Midway Games. I said, yeah, I heard. And he goes, so I'm working on some video games right now. And he goes, have you ever heard of Street Fighter? And I said, I think I did. He goes, yeah, it's a fighting game. He says, but I said, John, I said, the games that I like are like Tempest and Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, Qbert, those are Space Invaders. Those are my games that I grew up with. So I'm not really familiar with fighting games. And so, he said, well, I got to come up with a fighting game. We got to come up with something. So he goes, I have an idea. I was wondering if you can get the guys together and, come on into the studio and, we'll talk. He's like, I want to try something. So, a lot of people will ask me, like when I do, Comic-Cons and things like that, game conventions, they'll say, how did you get this gig? Did you go through an agency? Did you go through an agency? And I'm like, do you have an agent? I'm like,
what is that?
No, no, I John Tobias was my
my friend,
childhood friend, it's like, he just called me on the phone and said, hey, come on in, so, I guess, nowadays things happen like that, with agencies and stuff like that, but it didn't happen this way. So, we went in, I called Danny, Carlos, and I said, hey, John wants us to come in. So yeah, we went in there, and Daniel was the first to be filmed. And I was the second to be filmed. So, yeah, but yeah, John had some sketches that we looked at, and, it was very crude. There was no, like blue screen, high tech, nothing like you see today. It was, there was a room that we had to clean out, like a closet, that there was no studio. They didn't have like a backdrop where you can, film stuff against a green screen or a blue screen. I think John, I remember he went and bought like some gray paint or something, or had to like paint the wall like a flat color. And yeah, we had to shoot against the wall. So he had some sketches of like, what a Kano would look like, or Johnny Cage. And it just seemed, that all the characters fell in line. I was bald, so my hair was going. I think I probably had a little more hair than this. So I really fit like the, plus I
face.
I have that mean face. So, John had this like mercenary thief, like a killer type of character. And he's like, yeah, you got like a good look, you could be Kano.
I can fit it.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. I'm like, and Danny was like, like this, he had, just like this clean look, maybe it was like the Van Damme look. I'm not sure, but, at that time, I don't think that, cause John had never mentioned anything about, cause you hear the rumors, about the Jean-Claude Van Damme game,
the game
that they were supposed to make or whatever. So, I don't know the exact order of how it went down, because, you're talking 30 years ago. So, I guess the only thing I could think of is, they were probably gonna, do like a Jean-Claude Van Damme game, because I think they had done Terminator 2, and they were starting to do games at Midway that were more along the lines of, big franchises. So
like movies and all that.
Yeah, like movies and things like that. So and Terminator did well, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that kind of stuff. So Van Damme was pretty popular at the time. So but I'm guessing that he probably, video games were not something that movie stars would really, come down and do. It was like, ooh, a video game, I'm not doing that. So yeah, so I guess Van Damme, didn't want to do anything like that, but John probably had his back up against the wall, like, well, why don't I just call my friends? They're martial artists. So, like I said, like John didn't call me and say, yeah, we were going to do a Van Damme thing, and it fell through. So I'm calling you guys instead. that was not said to me.
Mhm.
So as far as what had transpired before that phone call, I do not know. It was never told to me. So, but if I put two and two together, and from what I hear,
Mhm.
that's probably what had happened. Because if you
Yeah.
think about it, why in the world would John call me?
Mhm.
Why, it's not like the people at Midway said, hey, John, why don't you call your friends who are martial artists and
Mhm.
see if they want to be in a video game?
Yeah. It probably was something related to martial art, and that's like,
Well, they
oh,
they they
I know
knew,
these
yeah.
people.
Yeah, well, they knew they wanted to do a martial arts game
Mhm.
Mhm.
because they had to come up with something that would blow away Street Fighter. So, first thoughts are, hey, let's get Van Damme. And, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that,
Mhm.
well, if Van Damme doesn't work out, now what the fuck do we do?
Yep.
So, this is clean, right? I could say the F word
Oh,
if I
you
want
can say anything you want.
to. So, yeah, fuck. But anyway, so yeah, yeah. So John probably was thinking, and I'm just guessing here, that like, oh shit, wait a minute, I have friends who do martial arts, so
Mhm.
I mean, if you think about it, that's probably why he said, I want to try something.
Mhm.
So we went in, and the rest is history.
Mhm.
We filmed, and I will say that, you know, it seems as though, I do remember that they put something in front of us, like a contract. But it wasn't until, like, I believe that the people that were very important at Midway saw a lot of the work we had done already. Because they were getting, camera footage from what we filmed, and like Ed, he's the programmer, so he's an awesome programmer. He was coming up with stuff that, taking the video footage of us and tying it into the console, and you can press the buttons, and the punches, the kicks, everything we were doing. Not a lot of people had seen that before. So,
Mhm.
when you take that back to, the people who are paying you because they want to know your progress, how you're doing, they're giving you a lot of money to, work for 3, 6 months, 9 months on a game. They want to know that you're doing, a good job down there in the office, or wherever we
Mhm.
were filming. So, they probably saw it and said, holy shit, this looks awesome,
This is good.
This
but
is all the footage that we can see basically everywhere. With the back, it's like a gray room.
Uh-huh.
yeah, like a lot of the old footage, if you look
Mhm.
like behind the scenes Mortal Kombat 1 on YouTube,
Mhm.
it looks like a gray background.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's it.
There, and the video sucks because the video was only VHS tape. It wasn't until Mortal Kombat 2 that you got a lot more vibrant colors,
Mhm.
and because the camera they used was digital. So if you think about it, like 1992, you know, we were filming, like, I think, was it maybe December of, January 92 now, you know, um, into spring maybe, in 92. Um, yeah. And, you know, everything was still VHS tape. But then, like, if you think about it, think about this. You're talking 92. The
Mhm.
next year, 1993, what happens in Hollywood that changes the major motion picture industry? The
Jurassic Park, right?
release of Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Yes. To be able to, computers were changing so fast. The ability and memory to be able to, render so many things in computer graphics.
Mhm.
Um, 1993 was just amazing to see Jurassic Park on the big screen, and you see all the texture mapping and everything. I used to be a 3D modeler, Jesus, so
Uh-huh.
being that you were graphic design, you kind of know. I
Uh-huh.
used to be a 3D modeler and use Lightwave and Maya,
Ah,
um,
great.
3D Studio. So I used to do all that. So for me, even seeing that stuff, and by the way, I interviewed at Midway 3 times and they wouldn't hire me.
Uh-huh.
It's so funny. They didn't want to have anything to do with 3D.
Wow.
And now
Nowadays, yeah.
Uh-huh.
now everything's 3D. Exactly. It's just stupid. So to get a job like that to work at Midway Games, boy, you're talking way before, the huge NetherRealm studio thing,
Mm-hmm.
but to get a job at Midway, they wanted you coming in there being like a really awesome artist, and you almost had to walk through that door with a videotape of 3D animation that looked like you did Monsters Incorporated.
Wow.
How are you going to do that with a computer system in the 90s? Because you're just not, unless you're Pixar, or you're Lucasfilm, or, Industrial Light and Magic, unless you got that kind of rendering power with like Silicon Graphics workstations, the average Joe at home with a a computer with a
Come be
Macintosh
near with that. No,
2CI, you are not going to render out anything cool
no
in
way.
3D. So it was, when they were hiring you at Midway, they were mostly looking at like if you were good at character development. So, if there's anyone out there that's watching this and they really want to get into like video game design, um, you guys better bust your ass. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. And with today's technologies, there's no excuses. And with AI and all of that, you better have a pretty good fucking background in art fundamentals,
Yeah.
because if you're going to want to work for Industrial Light and Magic or Pixar, or I think it's Blue Sky, or any of these big companies, and you want to do movie magic, you better be really fucking good, because there's a lot of competition out there,
Yeah.
especially today. And I'll be honest with you, I can't draw like John Tobias, and he came from the comic book industry. He drew the comic book for the real Ghostbusters comic book before he worked for Midway Games. And I've tried to draw. I don't know how many of you, out there can draw awesome. But like I've seen people who draw, and everyone has a different style,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
some people don't even have a style, or I don't want to say don't have a style. Everybody has a style, but to each their own. Because even like if your anatomy in your character design is not perfect, you could still do a comic book, a comic strip. It doesn't have to be perfect. But one of the major things you definitely have to have is storytelling. If you're not good at storytelling as well, no one's gonna want to hear your story. So I almost have to say, be well rounded. Watch a lot of the older movies from when we were young guys. When there was a lot of good films. Because we grew up with a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, it's just a lot of rehashed bullshit. But yeah, I don't know what kind of movies you guys like. Are you guys
I
like the
love
80s?
classic 80s.
Yeah, classic
I'm in the
80s.
80s.
80s, 90s movies.
I love 80s music. The
Oh
80s
yeah.
was the best decade.
A lot of you guys might not know, but I used to be a DJ.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so in the 80s, especially in Chicago, so I started mixing music when I was in high school. Um, let's see, I was probably about 15, 16 years old, and someone had 2 turntables at high school, and I saw how they put 2 records together, and now they're doing it all digital. And it's funny because like a lot of the big digital DJs that are doing these huge festivals all over the world with
Mhm.
techno music, you know, a lot of those guys like Tiesto and David Guetta, those guys, they're 55 years old, the same
Mhm.
age that I am.
Yep.
So you might see Kano back out there.
Well,
Dude.
if we have the Kung Fu rock star, so we can have the Kano DJ.
Yeah, because I just looked it up, and David Guetta, you know, he does a lot of remixing, and he also does these huge festivals all over the world. And I'm thinking, man, I got to get back into DJing or something because, you know, I'm 54, he's 55, so he's probably been mixing music just as long as I have.
Maybe you
I
could
just
go to the
I just
stage
never.
wearing the Kano
Well,
costume.
I don't think Warner Brothers would like that, but definitely, you know, I got to come up with like a DJ name. But I still have all my vinyl, all my records, but and I still know how to do all my mixing. I just need to do it. So
Uh-huh.
what I need to do is do something like maybe I do comic conventions or any sort of conventions, you know, maybe in South America or Italy or, you know, Europe or whatever, and you know,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto
Mhm.
Rico, yeah, and Chile, Argentina, you know, Brazil, go all over the world and do these
Yeah.
festivals, and you know, maybe I got to come up with a good name, you know,
Mhm.
I don't know, I got to think of something, you know, but yeah, I used to DJ back then, you know, Italio disco, then it got into house music, and then industrial dance, new wave dance music, and techno dance music. I DJ'd it all the way through the 90s. So yeah, I might have to do that again. DJ Kano wins, you know.
Richard,
Maybe I'll wear
and
my mask and I'll have a laser light, and as
that's
I'm
good. That's
moving around, the laser light will just shoot around the crowd or something. I don't know. You know, you got to come up with a gimmick or something like that. But anyway, yeah, I used to do that, and now I'm in Mortal Kombat.
Richard, in another topic that I know is related to your career, what do you think about the actual actor strike, and how can you relate that strike to your career as a motion capture artist? What do you think about that?
Well, you know, this whole AI thing. I just learned about it probably 3 4 months ago, and I only learned about it because it's everywhere. And I started seeing pictures on Instagram, Facebook, Google, um, and I'm looking at these images because I am a graphic designer. That's what I went to school for, art and design. So my eye pretty much is attracted to anything, you know, design related.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at this artwork and I'm thinking, what is that? How are they creating that? Are they painting that?
Mhm.
And I quickly learned that, you know, it's like computer generated, but I'm thinking, how did they do this? So I started doing the research and how it works. And a friend sent me the link and said, you know, I should try it out. And I guess there's a link you go to and you put in keywords, and then it somehow draws from the internet all these different, you know, images that, you know, obviously we supplied the internet with all these images over time. And then what's scary is I thought, well, if it's generically just pulling images from the internet, you know, there's only so many generic images from the internet to pull from. I
Mhm.
thought, you know, unless there's a gazillion images, but then I thought maybe the algorithm in the computer is actually to a point where it is really doing an awesome job at manipulating these images and coming up with these designs. And I thought to myself, is it really that advanced that it's
Yeah.
doing that great of a design? Because I won't lie to you, I like some of the artwork that I'm seeing. I'm seeing it
Mhm.
and I'm going, wow, that looks fucking great.
Okay.
That's awesome. And then around the same time, I saw an interview where they showed George Lucas walked into this huge soundstage where they had these gigantic screens. They were probably about 180 degrees, maybe not 360.
I have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they did a lot of the backgrounds for Mandalorian.
For Mandalorian.
And and then I started learning about Unreal Engine and what it does, and I started thinking, this is great what it's doing for film. At first I thought, oh, this is great what it's doing for film, like with set design and backdrops. And I watched The Mandalorian. I love Star Wars. I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I've already been in 2 huge franchises, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mortal Kombat. And
you
to
would
top
love
it
to
off,
be in Star Wars.
Star Wars
Star Wars
is my dream, to be able to be anything in Star Wars. I love it, and I would just love it. My wife's brother works for Disney World, and I recently went and visited Galaxy's Edge in Florida.
That's
and
awesome.
I was like
That's
Kid,
insane.
I was like a kid in a candy store. And you got to think about it. I was 9 years old in 1977, right around that time, and Star Wars came out. So for me, Star Wars is huge. You know what? Fuck. All the great shit was when I grew up. Fucking Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all the good stuff. And
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future and The Thing, John Carpenter.
Goonies.
all of the good shit. Big Trouble in Little China.
Wow,
all the good
awesome.
stuff.
That's
So I mean, my dream was to always work for Industrial and Light and Magic. I would have loved to have worked on Star Wars, but I would love to be an actor definitely in one of the films. But when I started watching Mandalorian and I saw the backgrounds, I couldn't tell the difference, but I started learning about how Unreal Engine works. And I was like, thinking, well, this is awesome. Like, at first I didn't think about how this would take away from, let's say, the carpenters and the painters and the designers to have to build, set design or anything like that. But you know what? I think that a lot of the techie guys are utilizing the AI in some correct ways. Like, for instance, so to save money, if you're going to do like a desert scene, and you're going to do something in Mandalorian, and you got to have this desert scene, are you going to pick up with a whole crew of gear and you're going to fly to Tunisia, where they originally did Star Wars in Tunisia, and load airplanes full of equipment, or you're going to go to some desert, in the United States and film something, and bring all this equipment and light it and deal with the sand getting into every camera and
the weather
and the heat and everyone, or can you just create this stuff digitally and have it in the background? I would say you would save a lot of money, although you got to spend the money on the artist who's going to actually create that design for you. So you still are going to have an artist that has to design it, and you still have to have an art director that's going to go, yeah, that shit sucks the way you did that. It looks like shit. It needs to look a little bit more realistic. We don't want to go to the desert, but we want it to look like a fucking desert. So there's people that still have jobs. And then what's cool is I like how they did this combination. They still have the set designers, because for the foreground, they still need the carpenters to design all of the foreground elements, like, whether it's like the boxes and, like the doors that open and all of that. I don't want that to go digital, because then you can tell the difference. That looks like shit. If you have the digital background where it's far enough away where you're like, okay, that looks cool, the sky or whatever, but the foreground elements look like they're actually built, like the ships are all built, hand built. You know, it gives like a grittiness to the film where you're like, wow, this looks, you know, whether it's the doorway, like even when I went to Galaxy's Edge, they did an awesome job. If you visited it, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I could go there every day and just, you know, I walked the Millennium Falcon and it was so cool. And every
Insane.
detail, the piping, you know, all the pipes and, you know, and
You want to jump in.
yeah, you want to jump in and the oil, the way it's dripping down. So you're not going to get that digitally too good. You're going to, if you have real painters do that, that's awesome. So now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to the latest Indiana Jones film. What was it? The Dial of Destiny?
I believe so.
I saw it. So many reviews of the new Harrison Ford film, the new Indiana Jones movie. People don't like it. I love the movie. I fucking loved it. If you don't go see that movie, you're shortchanging yourself. I loved it. Oh my God. It brought me back, you know, and I'd say about 20 minutes of the movie, they did a lot of the digital stuff where they had Harrison Ford's face changed and it looks like he's younger. Do I feel that that takes away from anything? You know, no, I don't. The point or the timeline in which they were trying to tell the story was more like a flashback, you know, to his younger days. So if you're careful and you utilize the AI in that way, where you're trying to use it for, you know, maybe like a flashback scene or something, you know, have at it and, you know, do a good job doing it. And they did a remarkable job doing that. So I love it technology wise, but I can still see how, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe there's what, you know, they are striking and I get it. And I'm with them, you know, but I do think that when they finally sit down and they negotiate how this should roll out, they should kind of have some terms as to how the AI is going to be used. Like there should be some terms like, well, you know, maybe it shouldn't be used for like 100% acting. You know, maybe that's, I don't want to say against the law, but I'm just saying like, you know, like there should be some sort of terms to how it's used, you know, for flashback scenes, you know, okay, because obviously Harrison Ford's like 80 years old. How is he going to look young again, you know? So, you know, in those ways, I can see how it's used and I have no problem with that. But you still have to have real actors that tell real stories. And you are never going to substitute that with AI. So I'm with those guys.
Definitely.
That's my take on it.
Richard, going back to Mortal Kombat, we have a few things to cover, a lot to cover. From all the characters that you portray in these fantastic, you know, games, and I love everything they've done recently, but I love classics. I love the game. Which one was the most challenging? Which one was the most that you like, and why?
Well, Baraka was obviously the most challenging because I had to wear that mask.
A mask.
And you know, I had to do all those moves. You know, under the lights. Yeah, right, exactly. Let's see how he does.
Nice.
Yeah.
With the blades.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's see how we do that. Yeah. But Baraka was the hardest because it was hot in that mask. So yeah, I just remember sweat was just rolling down my neck and there was nothing I could do about it. And it wasn't like I could take the mask off and wait, you know. Speaking of that, you know, I always do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
There it is.
So I do have a story about the mask. So what I will tell you, so this mask is a real Caesar company mask. And what I mean by that is underneath it, it's stamped. It says CESAR, like César, Caesar. Okay? César. That was a French company.
Beautiful, beautiful mask, man. I love that.
So you come up with the mask, or they give it to you to portray the character?
So the way it all worked was John had a sketch for a character for Baraka, and he had some like mold guys that mold masks and stuff like that, that make weapons and things like that. Mold makers. They came up with a mask. The first one just sucked. It was like that big. I've posted the picture every once in a while. I'll have to repost it, but it was way too big for the scale for my body. So anyway, we thought, why don't we just go to the store where they sell the Halloween costumes? So I don't know, you guys don't have Halloween down in Puerto Rico, do you?
Yeah,
we do. Do you?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's America, right?
Yep.
So you guys, but did you dress up as a kid?
Dressed up, going
Sure.
door to door, all that stuff.
Star Wars, everything like that.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys are 100% Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Or do you have a mix?
Well, we are all a mix.
We're all mixed.
here in
We're all
Puerto
mixed.
Rico.
Yeah, we're all mixed, but
We
yeah,
have
like
here mix from Spain and Africa and Indians here in Puerto Rico. So we're
all right. So let me ask you:
a crazy mix.
do you like? Well, I know your answer already. I was going to say, do you like Puerto Rican food or Mexican food better?
Oof. I gotta go with.
love
They're
Mexican.
both fucking great.
Yeah, I love Mexican food.
Okay.
Yeah, Mexican
But-
food is good. Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this out there so I don't get in trouble. I'll go.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer: my wife is Italian American, so
Whoa.
I'll go with Italian food. That's
You know what?
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm half Italian. The other half I'm Bohemian, which is like Czechoslovakia.
Mhm.
So, but people will see me and they'll say, "Are you Arabic?" I don't know where they get that from. They think I'm Arabic. So, I don't know. I don't know where that. But I am half Italian. So, but as far as Italian food goes, I don't know. It's like my two best foods are Mexican food and Italian food. But I don't know. Sometimes the Mexican food wins out. I gotta have cilantro, and pico de gallo. And oh man, now I'm getting hungry.
So we're
Guys,
gonna change the
just-
podcast
just-
from Mortal Kombat to Mexican food, and let's do.
Here, let's get back to what were we talking about here?
So the most
Mortal
challenging
Kombat.
Baraka.
Baraka was the most
Baraka.
challenging, and now
Yeah,
that's the most challenging, and we know
Yeah.
now why. The mask probably
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and the
and I
person
had to
wear-
do all the flips. I had to do all the flips with that mask on.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I couldn't, and just I had to flip over, and I just had to do it, and I even had to do it for Quan Chi as well.
with all the
With all that
vests.
stuff on. Yeah. So what we would do is John would take out like the spikes out of my thing, and
Mhm.
I would flip over, and then he would put the spikes back in. In fact, I even have Quan Chi's shoes here. I don't know if you
No.
can see. These are Quan Chi's.
Wow.
These are Quan Chi's boots.
Oh wow!
Those are the boots that I wore for Quan Chi.
That's amazing. Oh wow!
You know what? They never fail me.
So that was the most challenging, right? Which one is the one? I think we all know the most that
Baraka.
you like, the most
It's
that
Quan
you
Chi.
like, the most that you love, and I think I can see the why.
I see the ninja has been successful in retrieving my map, as I have foreseen. Let's get something straight. I am not a ninja. I am Lin Kuei. Scorpion was a ninja. Yes, your Japanese counterpart. How unfortunate that you happened upon him in your battle with those pesky Shaolin monks. What did he say? What I always, you know what I do at Comic Cons? I always have like the fans will recite the lines along with me, so it's cool when they do
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, what's cool is couple of weeks from now, I'm going to a wedding. Guess whose wedding I'm going to?
Who's it?
Serena.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Leah Montalongo.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I'm going to her wedding. So, and you know who's going to be there with me is Jax,
Uh-huh.
John Parrish.
Wow.
So,
So you really have that connection with all the guys that portray
Oh, yeah.
the characters in
Oh, yeah.
Mortal Kombat. So
Oh, yeah.
well,
Leah.
you were a bunch of friends, right? So
Oh, yeah.
Family. At this point, it's
Leah
family. It's 30
lives.
years.
She lives probably 10 minutes from my house. And John, he lives probably about a half an hour from my house. So, yeah, actually, they were both here on the 4th of July. I had a big 4th of July party. So,
nice.
yeah. And then Carlos Pacina, he was here too. Yeah, Carlos lives about an hour and 15 minutes away. So, but so I basically had Raiden, Jax, and Serena and Sindel, you know, here at my house. So,
Yeah.
but I posted some.
That's
I
happy.
thought I posted some pictures on my
Uh-huh.
Instagram. So just so you guys know, my Instagram is at Richard Divizio. So please
Uh-huh.
follow me there.
It's right there. It's right there in the screen.
That's awesome. So yeah, please, you know, come there, send some love over. You know. Oh yeah. Thank you for being a fan for all these years. That's all I got to say is, you know, we all couldn't have done it without you guys, you know, because I always say, you know, the game, you know, yeah, it could have been pretty good, you know, but it took the fans to put quarters in the machine for the machine to actually make money. I mean, if the game would have sucked, they would have just pulled the plug on that game. They would have probably told Tobias, yeah, let's just work on something else. Let's scrap the idea. So, but you know, I don't know. How do you guys feel? You know, I know it's your guys' podcast, but I always do this. I always ask questions. You know, it's like it's your podcast, but you know what? I'm fucking Quan Chi, so you fucking listen to me. No, so, but no, I want to know how you guys feel about like obviously like the, you know, Mortal Kombat is huge all over the world and it was a huge success. But you know, do you really contribute the success, you know, to like what do you guys contribute the success of the game to? Do you contribute the success? Boy, say that real fast. You know, is it the programming? Is it the artwork? Is it the, you know, the storyline? Is it the character development? Is it all of those things together? Is it the recipe? Is it the
gameplay, huh?
the gameplay? You know, the thought process, the collaboration between all of us that made it a huge success. I mean, what's your guys' take on that? Like, how in the world do you come up with something? But I think I just said it because I said, how do you come up with something? I think it's a collaboration with everyone that made it a success. And then I always include the fans in that collaboration because we could have done all that shit and it wouldn't have been nothing unless the fans loved it. I mean, yeah, we had to do our part. I mean, we had to make a fucking game. You know, we had to make a game. We had to put it out there. But before we even met you guys, you know, before fans were even involved, before quarters even came out of your pocket and put into a machine, we had to do our part. You know, I had to do acting. Tobias had to draw. Ed Boon had to think, you know, like, how the hell am I going to program this thing? You know, so we all played a role. So, you know, hands off to all of us, that made this thing a success. And I don't think I've ever really said that way in a podcast before. So you're the first.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I think that I like how you said that it's a collaboration between you guys, the artists, the craft, the people that craft all this fantastic world and start everything. For me, it's been in 1990. I don't know, 7 years old, and it was the first game I got. My dad got me that game with a Super Nintendo. And
Love your
from
dad. Love your
there,
dad.
my dad always wanted to be Kano.
Nice.
Always want to be Sub-Zero. So, and it started like that. And the first was like innovation. It was like something different, a great game. Then number 2 came out, and oh my God, and 3, and let's go with there. And at first, it was just a game, but it became later something bigger. Of there's character development. There's people putting effort and love into this. And then we got a movie in theaters. First day, my dad brought me to theaters, and all that. Like it was that. It's a collaboration, but there was you guys that came up with all these ideas and put all this into something for us to enjoy.
I got a quick question for you. And this is kind of on that note.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know from you. Okay, so you're 7 years old. When did you learn that we were real people filmed in the game? Because even to this day, I think a lot of people still think that it was just pixels that were on the screen that were manipulated, just like an 80s Donkey Kong game or whatever. So when did you think like these are real people? Tell me.
I think it was most when I started being more mature and starting to look for how this exists. Seeing, in loading screens, you got pictures of you guys basically with a description of what is Kano, what is Lucan. And it was just that the interest, it grew on me wanting to know more about how this game is created. Who are the people that are the actors? Because yeah, the gaming and all that stuff is great, but there's more into it. And it's like any video game. There's more into it. And I'm always been one of those people that want to know more, and I appreciate and I value what everybody do in video games, from the actors, writers, graphic artists, like everything, programmers, everything they do. But it was around maybe when I was like 12, 13 that I got it more mature, and I'm like, you know what, they gotta be more. And it grew, and for me it's everything, honestly, in the
Hold
gaming.
on, I'm gonna give you my Quan Chi look. Hold on. wait. Okay, go ahead. No, okay.
So it was me wanting to know more about how this existed and how some people created this amazing world, and
I hope that I'm doing that for you. Like, I hope that that in this podcast that I'm answering the questions, and that you're getting to hear the things that you've always wanted to know about. I hope I'm doing that for you. And I
that's what we want.
I don't do interviews every day, and I want to tell you that in my Instagram inbox, I get on a daily basis, I get a lot of people that want to do a podcast. And I just want to tell you that I don't say yes to every one of them.
Thank you.
So I just don't. There's just too many. But when you and I spoke, I kind of felt that there was an appreciation there. So that's why I was like, you know what, this guy seems like a good guy, and so I'm gonna do something with him. So
thank you.
And even now, just meeting you guys, I can feel like we're brothers now. You are now in the MK family with us. So when you come to fucking Chicago, we're going out for some pizza. So
For sure.
you
We
can come
will.
out to the house, or whatever. So just let me know when you're in town.
We
You
sure
know,
will.
yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Richard, I want to ask you because we know you want to tell the story of injustice that you and Midway are involved. Yeah, tell us that story. We know you want to tell
This
the
is not
story.
alcohol yet. This is there's no vodka in here. This is just
We know you
um
want to tell that story. We want to hear.
And they go over
well,
here.
let me
Oh,
and the get over here story. Okay, yeah. So um I'm gonna try to tell it in a different way. Probably the same thing, but yeah, like, when you're young, bottom line is we all want to be rich. We
mhm,
we all want our lives to be better. And there is a deep down issue where this game has made multi-million dollars. And even at 54, I would love to retire and be able to travel the world and meet all of the fans. And I would love to be able to do that. Can I still do that to this day? I could. um because now they have the Comic Cons and things like that didn't exist before. And I could still do all that, but it's a little bit more difficult to be able to do that because just like you, I have to pay the bills. And
mhm,
I have to work an everyday job. What I do for a living is I have an art degree in design. That's what I went to school for, but that didn't pay the bills. So I actually fix the trains in the city of Chicago that drive around in the subway. Um, so I'm a mechanic. It's not something that I wanted to do. It is a union job, so that's a pretty good thing. So when
mhm,
I retire, I'll have a pension, which is pretty good. Monday through Friday, 6 to 3. I mean, sorry, 6 to 2:30. So weekends off. I had to work many years to be able to have enough seniority to be able to, because there's so many guys ahead of me.
mhm,
Um, but I do that every day. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. That sucks. Many of the other guys that I know, Daniel, he's got his own kung fu school. Tony Marquez, he's got his own kung fu school. John Parrish, who plays Jax, he is a personal trainer. Leah Montalongo, she is like a health and fitness guru. She, has got her own business. Out of a lot of the Hosung Pak is living in LA. He's, you know, a consultant on films and movies and things like that. Um, Carlos Pesina, he's retired from NetherRealm. He was a lead animation director, and worked
le-
on Mortal Kombat all the way up until the latest Mortal Kombat. And his wife actually still works for NetherRealm Studios. Um, so, you know, I'm not saying I'm the only guy, but you know, I'm I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and a lot of the other guys are not. They got their own schedules and things like that. People will say, well, why didn't you open up a martial arts school? I kind of got out of martial arts when I was 26, way after we, did Mortal Kombat stuff. I kind of wanted to just go on with my life and do other things. And, I had done martial arts from 13 years old to 26 years old. But the way my life is now is, my body's sore. I did kung fu. My
mhm,
body's sore. I got aches and pains like everybody else. I enjoy acting a lot, and I'm not doing any now. Always looking for projects to do or to work on, and but I still have to have a full time job, and it's difficult to be able to, tell a full time job, hey, I'm going to go off and work on something. They're
mhm,
not going to stand for it. Whereas if I had my own business or something, it'd be a lot easier. So with that being said, you know, I wish the money was there to be able to have the freedom to go and do the things that many of the other guys do. Like I can't travel the world, you know. A lot of the guys from, you know, Chile and Argentina, they're all like, you know, they want me to come down there. But a lot of times it's based on my job and how much vacation time I have, or
Mhm.
whether I'm able to even go. A lot of these guys, they could just hop on a plane and go. Um, so I think to myself, like, you know, shit, you know, there's in some people's eyes, it might sound like bitterness, but I've always been a good guy, and I know the world is not fair. I'm 54, and it, you know, and I'm not saying that in my 50s I started to learn, you know, that the world wasn't fair. I started learning that a long time ago, actually. But it sucks when, you know, you were a helper on something that is huge and there's no appreciation. Because I'm big on, you know, I don't want to say morality, but just, you know, you do something, you know, you like, I guess what I'm saying, I could say it like
Mhm.
this. If I was Warner Brothers and I bought a franchise like Midway, and I learned maybe, or, you know, I wasn't just a corporate, you know, entity, and money floating around. I personally would do the research and go, so who the fuck were these guys that built this franchise, or were on screen? Like, you know, let's throw these guys a bone. I mean, these guys were nobodies, and they helped, you know, this franchise
Mhm.
make a gazillion dollars. Let's make their life a little easier. Um, but there's nothing. There's nothing like this. Um, I say it because I'm in the position that I am in, and, you know, I would love for Warner Brothers to be able to be like, you know what, we're gonna. I mean, what would it really hurt for those guys to even give us even a tiny percentage of the money that's been made? It would help, you know, many of us who were characters in the game. It would change our lives drastically. Um, so there's always going to be that feeling in my heart about, you know, a lot of people say, let it go, you know, let it go. But I mean, yeah, I mean, in some ways I do let it go. Um, but it's still there.
Mhm.
The feeling of knowing that I probably still have to work another 10 to 15 years. So you're talking that I'm working until I'm 65, you know, 70. But you know, many of us do. Many of us have to work that
Mhm.
long. A lot of us are not fortunate enough to be able to, you know, to quit our jobs at an early age. But a lot of us, when we're young, we have certain goals of how we're going to do that. When we're in our teens, when we're in our 20s, we're saying things like, I'm going to create this, and I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to retire young, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, not everybody does that. Not
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
everybody captures lightning in a bottle. Not everybody gets the opportunity to go work at Industrial Light and Magic and work on Star Wars. Not everybody gets that situation to have a phone call of a guy who calls them and says, "Hey, I want to work on a video game," and it turns out to be Mortal Kombat. You know, and so I look at it like, okay, something's going on here with my life. You know, I always wanted to be a part of a behind the scenes type of thing, and I look at it in a weird way. I look at it like I'm 9 years old. I love Star Wars. I'm growing up. I'm an artist when I'm young. I'm in design. I used to love to draw. I knew at a young age that I always had an appreciation for art. So I just kind of feel like I want to be surrounded by that, and I want to be surrounded by people who have an appreciation for that, and like-minded people I want to be around. And as my life grew, that kept happening over and over again. So it was like a sign. It was like, wait a minute, like, you know, I did martial arts. Now I'm in like Turtles movie. Now I'm in Mortal Kombat. It's like, you know, I want to do this stuff for forever. You know, I'm rubbing elbows with, you know, famous people who worked on famous movies. And I'm like, I would love to do this. Not everybody gets a chance to do this.
Mhm.
But when you do, you want to try to keep it rolling somehow. But yeah, I kind of just wish that, you know, I wish I had the money to be able to get out there and do some things. Even besides the money, that, you know, Warner Brothers doesn't have to, you know, go and, you know, say, you know, here you guys, you know, you guys are, you know, you guys are these guys that are on screen, you know, you're, you know.
Mhm.
But I mean, it would be nice. I wouldn't say no. But
Mhm.
I've always been I've always been a big guy on appreciation. Like, I personally feel that when there's something out there, you always give credit where credit is due. And I guess that, to sum it up, I've learned that the world is kind of a sucky place and no one gives a shit. And it's a shame. It really is a shame.
Yeah.
And shame on them. But in one light, I can't blame Warner Brothers, because they weren't there in the beginning. They don't know us.
Mhm.
They just bought the franchise. So in a little bit of ways, I kind of feel like, you know, like I guess someone who hears me talk like this could say, well, what do you want Warner Brothers to do? Do you want them to? I am only bringing them up because they're the owners of the
Mhm.
franchise now. But someone could say, well, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to just open up their bank account and just like go give you free money? I don't know. I mean, do they owe me money? No. But it would be a nice little gesture, you know, to be like, hey, we own this franchise, and this franchise is still making multi-billion dollars. You know what? Let's do something for these guys. You know, let's give this guys a percentage, half a percent, 1% of something. Because, and I only say this stuff because I will top this off. By 1995, when the film came out, which we were not in, we were not asked to be in the film. By 1995, the stats show, I believe, that the game had already made $5 billion. And that's
Yep.
1995. It is 2023.
Mhm.
You mean to tell me that there's not someone that works at Warner Brothers? I only bring up them up because they're the new owners of the company.
Mhm.
You
Of
mean to
course.
tell me there's not someone that goes, man, this franchise started with just a little video game? Who were those guys? Like, how did it start? They don't even know the fucking story at all. They don't even know how this began. I think that they think that this. I don't even think that we're real people. I don't think the big people. There's
Mhm.
two ways to here. Where's my video?
There you
There's
go.
there's two ways to look at this. They either don't know that we were real people filmed for the game from the beginning, or they just don't give a shit. It's one or the other.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, or they know that we were real characters, but they kind of, and here's another problem, is they either look at it like, yeah, they're real guys, but they probably just came from an agency. No, it didn't work that way. We were real people who all knew each other since we were 13 years old, and we all brought something different to the table to make this game a success. Anthony Marquez, he coined this phrase. He will call it personality in the pixels. which is a great way to put it.
Mhm.
Each of us characters kind of brought a little something. Remember, we went from paper, from a John Tobias drawing, and there's no director. John Tobias is not really, saying, I need you to be this way, or I need you to be that way. He's not a director. He's a kid himself at the time. He's not a movie maker. So each of us brought our own character development from what we saw on paper and became the character. And honestly, this is why I love Quan Chi so much. Because Kano, Baraka, Cabal, I'm in the mask here and there. But with Quan Chi, when we did mythologies,
You were acting.
I was able, John gave me the opportunity, so I thank him. He gave me the opportunity to recite dialogue. How in the world does an actor, and I'm not even a professional actor at the time. I'm not even a professional actor today. I'm just someone that loves film, and I love storytelling, and I love to be a character. I love to just be. This face I've been doing since I was a rock star from the rock band Kiss, when I was 11 or 12 years old. I've been doing this face. I have always had an appreciation for characters on film. So, and as I got older, I just so happened to have a face that looked like I can be a character. So when I finally got the opportunity to be Quan Chi, it was like, here we go. I finally get to let myself, out of the box and just be like, greetings, don't you realize why Raiden sent you? Do not question me, Serena. And more importantly, do not fail me. Let me do it again. Take two. So, let me do it again. Okay. So, do not fail me, Serena. And more importantly, do not fail me. We have toyed with the ninja long enough. So, anyway, stuff like that, like I'm able to create, and I love it. So, speaking of creation, Jesus, this leads me right into the next thing. When we were filming, actually when Daniel was filming, I hung around with Daniel 24/7. So when I was there when he filmed for Scorpion. So Ed Boon wanted Scorpion to do something with a lasso. He's even posted the video on it, and he's got words at the bottom of the screen because he wants to know what everyone said. And that's what everyone said, but you're not seeing the whole video. So, so just so you know, you're not seeing the whole video. So he wanted a lasso to go around the character so you can kind of pull the character in, But Daniel was like, nah, I'm not going to do Wonder Woman. So, and I always wanted weapons in the game. So I told John Tobias, I said, you going to have any weapons in this game? So he's like, yeah, I said, I go, Dan, and we had just come from Kung Fu. So he had in his bag a dagger, and Ed Boon wanted this lasso. I said, wait a minute. I said, give me that dagger that's in your bag with the rope. It's like a rope dart, Chinese weapon. I said, why don't we just take this and we just, and Ed Boon, I think, was talking on video about a spear. I think he moved into the spear, like a spear goes in, or no, I think it was not a spear. It was like an arrow or something. Well, I said, why don't I just take like that dagger and throw it into the guy, and it goes into his chest, and then you just reel him in like this, and you tell him to get over here. That's all I said. I said, you just reel him in like this, and I'm doing this in that room. I said, I go, and just tell him to get over here. Well, a couple of days later, Ed's voice was recorded by Dan Forden, who he's the guy who says Toasty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So so he recorded his voice. I think he recorded his voice. Oh, I'm sorry, my earbud came out. So he recorded his voice, and I think Steve Ritchie is another guy's voice that he recorded. So I'm not sure exactly which one is the one in the game, but you know, the whole "get over here" was recorded. It's not my voice, but I coined the phrase. But what's cool about that video, if you look on YouTube, it'll show it. Don't look at the Ed Boon one. Just look at the raw footage that's posted. You'll see Ed's talking about it. And then at the very end, you can kind of hear John Tobias's voice. He says something like, "Hey, Rich, weren't you saying..." Like he's like, "Rich, didn't you say..." That's what he said. I think he said, "Rich, didn't you say before..." Like he wanted to say, like, "Rich, didn't you say before that, you know..." I mean, I don't know what he said because it was cut off. But I wish we had the video and I don't know who cut it off. They may have cut it off for a reason because they don't want me to get the credit for it. But, you know, I don't know exactly how it went down. But I do remember being there and actually saying that. So that's why I stick to the fact of, like, I coined the phrase, "Get over here."
That iconic phrase.
I think Ed was the one that added "come here." I think he added the "come here." Come here. Get over here. Yeah. So, but like again, I said it again. It's a fucking collaboration. So, you know, credit me, credit Ed, credit John, credit Daniel, everybody. I mean, all of this, you know, is just great. It's just awesome. It's a collaboration. It's just like they do on Star Wars. You know, it's the same thing. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So,
can you share any insights or hints about anything that you're working on, anything in the future, something that you're planning, or being that on your personal, let's say, project that you have for the future?
Yeah, maybe I'm going to be a DJ. No,
the DJ.
It will be cool.
Or are you even open to come back in the future? Obviously, Warner Brothers need to talk about money in the future to be part again, or you know, on the Mortal Kombat series.
So recently, I think a fan had said that they had wanted Quan Chi to be back in as downloadable content, DLC, in the new Mortal Kombat. So, and I guess that they need someone to do the voice for Quan Chi. And so, you know, I tagged Ed Boon because he's pretty much the guy who's running NetherRealm right now. So I just need all of the fans out there to, you know, at NoobD, if you follow Ed Boon, it's at NoobD on Instagram or wherever you can get in contact with him. You just tell him that you want Rich Divizio to do the voice of Quan Chi for downloadable content. I mean, even that alone, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in that, you know.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I mean,
yeah, then, we have it. Quan Chi, we have it.
Yeah, I mean, why go with someone else? You know, a lot of people will ask me what I thought of the Quan Chi in Mortal Kombat Conquest. Have you seen the show?
Like the games and all that, yeah.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. No, it was like a TV show. Mortal Kombat, and there was a guy that played Quan Chi. But I will tell you that I think even at the time that was on, I had not even known that was on. Like, no one contacted me at all. So, you know, why they didn't, I'm not sure. So they picked the other guy, and someone asked me, you know, so what do you think of that guy who played Quan Chi? And I'm like, it's all right.
It's not the original Quan Chi.
It's not the real Quan Chi. There's only one Quan Chi. There's only one Kano, Baraka, Cabal, and Quan Chi. But I will say that I did see the Mortal Kombat from last year, the movie that came out, and I thought it was good. I liked it. I loved it. I loved it. And I do follow, you know, the director, and You know, that would have been cool. That would have been a good thing to be able to do like a cameo appearance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on that film. And then they're doing the second one, but no one has contacted us at all. I have no reason why, you know, not sure, but that would be cool to
That'll be
do
great.
that. Yeah, a cameo appearance would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for fan service, but dear director, you have him here. Like second movie, third movie, you need a Quan Chi. You don't have to go too far to find it. Like you have Richard.
Yep.
Like it's right there. And same thing with the animated movies. I watched them all the animated movies. Warner Bros. Doing now like anime, like cartoonish movies.
Well,
And
speaking of that, I would like to get into voiceover work.
That would be
I just
good.
don't. I just don't know how to get into that world. So if anyone's out there that knows how to do that, I would like to get into voiceover work. That would be cool. You know, I don't know. I only speak English. Spanish. I know only a few Spanish words.
Are they bad
Poquito,
words or?
poquito, vente, 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 que, mira, mira, mira aquí. I know a few words, you know, just a few words, but English though, you know, and and Italian, I don't know Italian either. Sorry, I guess I'm not. Guess I'm not a real Italian. but yeah, voiceover work, and I don't have an agent, so you know, anybody wants me to do voiceover work, you know, just contact my Instagram.
Mm-hmm. They should work on that.
Where's it
Maybe
at?
find an
right
agent.
there you go.
Yeah.
What is the most memorable interaction you ever had with a Mortal Kombat fan? Uh, Maybe one
Um,
that recognized you or something like that.
I've walked through malls and people said, "Are you Rich Divizio?" I said, "Yeah." That happened. What else? I was at a grocery store
Mhm.
and in the freezer section, and someone came up to me and said, "Excuse me, um, you Rich Divizio?" Like, who's asking? Like, you know, it's like you're afraid. You're afraid to even say like that you're that guy. But I said, yeah. I said, yeah, it's me. He's like, I met you before. He's like, I was at a Comic-Con. I met you before. He's like, you're awesome. I mean, we ended up talking for like an hour in the grocery store.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind
And
of
how do you
cool. And
feel?
then
How do you feel when someone recognizes?
I don't mind at all. I love it.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
That's
I
good.
mean, and yeah, I love it. You know, that's another thing too. Is like I've seen these videos where stars are like, "Get away from me," you know, "Get
Uh-huh.
away from me," you know, like you know, "Don't put the camera on me." It's like they fucking made you.
Uh-huh. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like you give them some time. You know, like I always see like if I was in a car and you know, like you know, I'm a movie star or something, and a fan wants to talk, I'm like, yeah, come on, let's go grab a hot dog or something, or you know, or grab a coffee or something, or you know, like because I always find it interesting, like I want to know about you, like I want to know about like your life, because I am a firm believer that we all have a story. Just like if you guys like come here and we all go out for some pizza or something, you know, like what was your childhood like? You know, there was a time when you were 7.
Mhm.
You know, there was a time when you were 5. You know, there's a memory of when you were little, and there was a memory when you had ice cream for the first time, or your mom took you somewhere for the first time, or one of your parents like surprised you. Um, you know, those are like cherished moments that like
Yeah.
only you could tell me those. Um, and you know, maybe or maybe not. You know, I may or may not be able to relate, but whether or not I relate to those, maybe you were adopted, maybe you weren't. You know, I mean, maybe I can't relate to your life or your story, but but I can listen to you, and I can, maybe appreciate what you went through, or what you're going through now in your life. So I love talking to people. So my wife even told me too. She's like, "Man, you love to talk." She's like, because she's in real estate, so she's like, "I need you to like get someone to buy a house from me." Like she's like, "You love talking," and I'm like, because I could meet someone in the grocery store, and next thing you know, I'm like talking to someone about like what they cooked last night, and I don't even know the person, and like what they cooked, what spices they used, exchanging recipes, or I am Italian, so I do cook. So anyway, yeah, she's not even home yet from work. So but guess what I'm having for dinner? I'm having a gyro.
Uh-huh.
Gyros.
Delicious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With some of that tzatziki sauce.
Oh,
I
you
love
see,
that.
we're going back to food.
Back to food. Always back.
I'm getting hungry.
Talking about heroes, you're talking about Puerto Rican, Mexican food,
Oh my gosh.
Italian food. Yeah,
We're getting hungry. We'll see.
So Richard, but by listening to you and talking about how you like to connect with fans and know their stories in a more personal way, which is Jesus, Chuito, and I. That's what we that's why we do these interviews, and that's why we do this podcast, just to get to know people, and that's why we literally go online and talk to. Do you think that this has been like the most rewarding thing that you ever received from the Mortal Kombat or just the video game fans?
I have to say that a combination of podcasts and being able to reach people all over the world that I can't meet personally is very rewarding. Obviously, like if you meet someone firsthand in person, that's always a great thing. And what I always tell my fans is when we do a show and we meet you, sometimes we are humble, and we'll like invite you out. Like if you're at a show, and obviously we go back to food, and when the Comic-Con is over at 7 o'clock at night, we got to go to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll usually go out to like a bar and grill, someplace that has tacos. We gotta have tacos. We don't really do pizza a lot, but like when we were in Arizona, we did tacos. We found this really good taco place. Orlando, tacos. It's always like tacos. Like who's got the best tacos? That's it. Or either tacos or steak. Go to a good steakhouse. So what we do is like, let's say you're a fan and you're at the table. Like what are you doing? Like when the show's over, like coming with us or what? Next thing you know, like you got people who you don't even know are sitting at the table with you, and you're breaking bread. You're eating. It's like it's awesome, and I know that for them, that for the fan, they're probably thinking, "This is fucking awesome. This is fucking. I'm fucking sitting with fucking Kano, fucking Johnny Cage, and fucking Scorpion, and I'm eating a pizza, or I'm having tacos with these guys." I understand that. I don't think things like yeah, he's getting to sit with us. I don't think that at all. I think to myself, I'm getting to sit with them. Like they're fucking eating breakfast with us. That's fucking awesome. Like we had a drink together, cheers,
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. It's like, I love when a fan doesn't expect that, like they would never expect us to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they're walking away and we're like, aren't you coming to eat with us? And they're like, Like what?
Me?
And it's like, and then we go, and then they're sitting with us, and it's like they're loving it, and they're loving it, and I'm loving it, and we're hearing about their life, and obviously, there's going to be that point where they're like, oh my God, and I love that, and you just be humble.
Mm-hmm.
You just be humble, and you be gracious, and you just thank God that you're able to give someone something, just like someone, that I met when I was younger, when I was working on that Turtles film, that director was able to, make me feel like I was a part of something, and it's my job to pass that on. I have to give that back. That's just me.
Yeah, I think that is what makes us humans. Like that interaction of not just, yeah, you're looking at a character, and yes, you grew up, and I was telling Chuito before the interview, I'm like, I'm so excited for this, because I get to interview a person that is being in my favorite video games. But in reality, that's like the tiny part. The biggest part is like, I want to know who is Richard. Like I want to know the person. I want to know why he do, because the character is just the small part. Like the human and the interaction is what really matter in all this. And man, I'm so happy and humble and thankful that you brought that in here with us, and people get to know that from you, because this is not something that a lot of people see every day, unless they go to the Comic Con and go out with you guys to eat tacos. But they get to get that vibe of knowing that, they're humans. It's not just like polygons and whatever. It's an actual human. It's a person. It's someone
For
that
sure.
has feelings. It's someone that have family, a job, and friends, and that's I think that's the most important and biggest part of in all this.
For sure.
Okay.
So I have to say, I just met you guys, but I love you guys like brothers right now. So
Oh, thank you.
so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Richard.
Richard.
Yeah. You guys are family now.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Richard. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
when
Thank you for the.
you guys have to come here. So
Sure.
I wanna
We'll do
take you guys to the Galloping Ghost Arcade.
Uh-huh.
Over
in
900 arcades. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. And you can
Oh.
come and meet Doc Mack, the owner, and we'll grab some food. Maybe go. Another thing too, yeah. If you guys do come here, we'll go to either Tony's Kung Fu School or Anthony Marquez Extreme Kung Fu, or I don't know. You follow Tony on your Instagram?
I follow all of you guys.
Yeah. We'll go out with Daniel. We'll go have a couple drinks. We'll have some tacos from Chicago.
Yeah, forget about the
Chi-town.
pizza. Let's go with the tacos.
Yeah, we'll get some Chi-town tacos, So yeah.
That should be great. We will do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys got to do that for sure.
You get our commitment.
We got to get some margaritas.
Oh, that too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my
Well,
favorite.
The bourbon.
Oh, you got to get some bourbon. You know what? I can make a good guacamole.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. And you know what? If you put too much lime in there, you'll fuck it up.
Uh-huh.
You can't put a lot of lime. You got to be like a little bit, and then taste it. Then you're like a little bit more lime, and it's like I fucked it up.
Start again.
Now I got to cut another avocado, and then I got to put another one in. Hey, by the way, how much are avocados by you?
Oh,
We're about $2 a piece.
About the same.
I think
But
the same
no,
here, too.
Chuito, don't say about that, because you can.
Well,
He's got his own avocado tree.
Yeah,
We have
I can
avocado
grab
tree,
some.
and he just
Really?
grabbed 10 and just keep
Literally.
walking.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have a tree.
Okay, so let me ask you. Does it really take 15 years to bear fruit on an avocado tree?
it's like
Oh,
it's a lot of years.
It's supposed to be a lot of years.
It's a lot of years. I don't know exactly know how much it is, but
To 10?
it takes a lot. And
the tree to mature to be able to get the fruit.
Yeah. Supposed to be 10 years.
Uh
Let me guess. You just have the tree there. It's been there for 30 years.
huh. Yeah.
Really?
That's true. Yeah, it's right in the backyard. Actually,
You're
it
so
has
lucky.
some- it has
You're so
some.
lucky. Oh my God. You're so lucky. I have a
Sometimes
garden.
they fell off and just got.
I grew cilantro, but it flowers real fast. So when it starts to go to flower, you gotta pull it so you could just keep
Mhm.
getting cilantro. But man, I gotta have cilantro with everything. Oh man, I'm already thinking about breakfast. Maybe some eggs, a little bit of salsa, and some. Oh my God!
I
I'm
think
starving.
you're hungry. I think you're
I think
hungry.
you're hungry.
Oh my God! With some chorizo,
Oh,
man, some eggs, and oh.
You're just
Man.
thinking about
which
food.
you
You're
have
hungry.
done this podcast about food. Forget about Mortal Kombat and Ninja Turtles and all that, like food.
We're
Let's talk
hungry.
about Mexican food and all the tacos and all that.
You know what I should do? Yeah, I just thought about this. You know what I should do? I should do like a Kano's food truck.
That'd be cool.
You know, like they got right now everyone's doing these food trucks,
yeah,
you
that's
know.
food truck.
Yeah,
And I could sell tacos, Kano's tacos. Or
Yes,
so-
you know, red
Oh.
dot like a laser.
Yeah, I would get in trouble. Warner Brothers would
You come back to the
Yeah.
people. Well, it's your turn with the laser.
oh my God. Yeah. You need me to cut that for you?
Shine.
With the laser, laser
Yeah.
cut.
You could probably do this in After Effects where you can when you do your video, you could do you could have a glowing eye.
Right,
Yeah.
Well,
That'd be-
Richard, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Regan, for this opportunity to have you here tonight. It has
Yeah.
been an immense honor to have you, to have the chance to host such an iconic person like you on our show. Many thanks, many thanks. We were
Thank you.
really,
Thank you.
really
And I
good.
will talk. I will talk to the other guys, and I will have them contact you.
We'll love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then Carlos and Daniel, they speak Spanish, so if you
Mhm.
want to do the episode in Spanish, you can do it as well.
That would be
So-
great.
We'll do
Tony's Filipino, so and Leah, I don't think Leah speaks Spanish. Montalongo, I don't know if I think she's mixed. She's Puerto Rican and something else.
Uh-huh.
She might speak Spanish. I'm not sure. I'll ask her at her wedding. So I'll be there. I'll be there in a couple weeks, and we'll post on my Instagram some pictures of the event. And you guys have a good evening. It was
Thank
great to
you.
meet you guys. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
It was
love
really
you
fun.
guys.
Really fun.
Can't wait until you guys make it to Chicago or I come down there.
will.
So yeah. So okay,
we're
brothers.
definitely gonna do that. Before you go, we have a present for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Oh,
get
really?
in contact with you so we can
This
ship
is-
it out.
This is printed digitally on canvas. So this is the
Oh, okay,
the
that's
poster that
awesome.
we did for
That's awesome. Okay,
It's
I will
printed
send
on
you
camera.
send you an address to send it.
sure.
Definitely.
my
And
God.
also
I,
I also have the whole poster with our names and everything for you to use it in the future or however you like. It's just
Okay,
like a small
If
put it
you
like
want,
a token of appreciation for you coming and sitting down
Awesome.
here.
if you want to send imagery, you can send to like a Dropbox.
Mhm.
If you have Dropbox, it's just my email, and you already have my email, so you can
Alright.
send a link for a downloadable link. But if you want to send that, I'll send you an address as well. So if you guys have anything that you guys want signed, like cartridges or whatever, just send them to me, and send me a box
Mhm.
or something with you could send me like a box that it can go back in,
Okay.
whatever. I don't know if you want to put a prepaid like
Prepaid,
stamp in there.
Mhm.
Send your cartridges, and I could autograph them, and then your magazines or whatever you got, and I'll put it right back in that box, and I'll send it to you. And then that goes for the fans as well. So if you guys have anything you want to send to get autographed, game cartridges, magazines, posters, or whatever, just contact me on my Instagram, and we will work out some sort of deal and have that sent back to your house after you send it to me.
That's
So,
great.
but, I will talk to you guys off of here, and good to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Richard.
Richard, some words that you want to tell to the Game Bangers community.
I would just say I love you guys. To the Game Avengers community, I love all of you. Thank you for being Mortal Kombat fans for more than 30 years. Love you all, and I hope to meet you all at a convention soon one day. Because if you don't meet me there, then you'll be failing me. And you know my words. My words are always, do not fail me. Because we have always toyed with the ninja long enough. Like again, I said, do not fail me. Hope to meet you one day. Fight.